Hello and a warm welcome to The Pulse, your fortnightly show that gets you issues impacting the society. I'm Neelu Vyas. This program brings before you the problems afflicting the society. We bring you face to face with the stakeholders who not only discuss the issue threadbare, but also offer solutions. It's examination time in school. Students are busy with their last-minute revisions. Parents and teachers are struggling hard and even anxious as to how their child will perform. Will he get good grades? Will he get the admission in the best of schools? Will he crack the IIT or the medical exam? Well, all these feelings are leading up to a lot of stress amongst the children. How do we manage this stress and how do we give the children a stress-free environment during the exams? All this and much more on today's episode of The Pulse. Joining me on the panel, Sonam Wangchuk, innovator and education reformist. He runs the famous Three Idiots School in Leh. And if you remember the Aamir Khan starrer, Three Idiots, the character of Phunsukh Wangdu is no one but Sonam Wangchuk himself. So a big round of applause for him. It's a pleasure having you on the program. Then we also have on the program Dr. Imran Noorani, who's consultant psychologist at Sir Gangaram Hospital in Delhi. We also have UN Kaware. He's the Additional Commissioner of Academics at Kendriya Vidyalaya. And also on the program is R.L. Trikha, who's Director of FITGI. And also joining us on the program is Swashant Srivastav. He's member of the Greater Noida Parent Association. I welcome all the panelists on the show and a broad welcome to this wonderful audience which is joining us on the program. And let me tell you, these are all class 10 and 11 and a few students from class 9 who are joining us on the program. So without wasting much time, we'll start with a panel discussion. But let's listen in to what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had to say about making the examination stress-free just a few days ago. Take a listen.
अगर एक बार मन में तय करे कि ये एग्जाम 10वीं कक्षा की है, ये मेरी जिंदगी का कसौटी नहीं है, परीक्षा के गलियारे से ही निकली हुई जिंदगी होती है, ऐसा नहीं है, उसके बाहर भी बहुत बड़ी दुनिया होती है। कुछ खिलौने के टूटने से बचपन नहीं मरा करता है।
So Prime Minister Narendra Modi, you heard him there, actually stating what the problem of the society is and why there is so much of stress amongst the students. So let me begin the program today with the students who are joining us on the program. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi just spoke about the board exam, so let me begin with a few class 10 students who've joined us here. What is the real worry while you're just about to write your exam? One by one, 2, 3 quick answers before we go to the panelists. Yes.
My name is Ritika.
Okay.
And I'm in class 10th. The main problem, I think, is the expectations. Our family and, in fact, our neighbors also. They're like, what is the result and all. So I think that's the main worry. And then we are really pressurized that, yes, we have to do something to, you know, stand with the expectations.
Okay, okay. Any other view? What is the biggest worry on your mind while you're writing? Of course, she said expectations from the society, your parents, even neighbors. What else is a worry which is there on your mind?
Apart from the pressures we get from our neighbors and stuff, but we ourselves feel pressurized to prove others, and we always get compared to our elder siblings or others who have achieved a lot in their life. And we are pressurized to manage our time well and score better in our exams.
Okay. I want some more students to talk. Just pass on the mic, yeah. You're also giving your board exam.
Yes, I'm giving the 12th grade exam.
Okay.
I'm Aditya. I'm studying in 12th grade and we're going to give the exams this March. Apart from comparison and pressure, the main thing is proving our own worth. Like, we've been studying for over a year, I mean, the same course for a year. We need to, you know, prove to ourselves what we are worth, what we can do with our resources, and how we've been preparing. It's just the final lap of that.
Right. And it does give you anxious moments and nervousness. But what about some children, you know, who really, you know, that the situation leads up to some kind of a mental disorder? Would anyone want to talk about this?
The main concern is that when we are in class 10th, we have to choose a stream in class 11th. So that is highly dependent on our marks.
Okay.
That really creates tension and pressure on our minds.
Okay, okay. So we've got a little trailer of what the entire discussion is going to be all about. But I would like to begin with you, Mr. Wangchuk. I am told that you are running a school which creates geniuses out of failures. I really want you to reassure these students who've come today with a lot of expectations, from the education system as to what they're going to do and how your school is making a difference.
Well, thank you very much. Geniuses out of failures. Well, I wouldn't like to think of genius as somebody who makes a lot of money or wields a lot of power. Somebody who's passionate and happy about what she or he is doing is a genius already. So to the students also, I would say, yes, there are lots of pressures, but you have to feel passionate about learning rather than playing to the gallery of neighbors and relatives. You want to learn and enhance your skills, and that happens when you engross yourself in the worth and value of what the books teach you. And when you are good in that and you can, if possible, apply that in life, you'll also do fairly well in exams, at least better than those who just memorize things. Memorization and then scoring high is really nothing. You forget it in few weeks. It's actually no different from bringing little chits to copy from. Memorization is also copying. Both of these will not be any use to you or the nation in few weeks. So if you really learn the crux of the content and then use it for the exams, even if you don't do the best in the exam, that's the system that is failing, not you. So this knowledge will come handy at some point in life when you are required to apply those in life. Those who have just scored and studied only for marks may have some marks at this stage, but in life they'll always be second.
But of course, we'll talk about your model of school, what it does and how it's creating a difference in the current academic system. But Mr. Kaware, this idea of the social idea of success, or what Mr. Wangchuk said, that there are a lot of expectations, as students were saying. The neighbors expect, parents expect, teachers expect, then there is a whole tall list of the 90%ers, the 100%ers. How do you really come out of this social idea of success? Can you reassure the students that, look, this is not the way you should think?
I really heard their questions and they have same thing. If you have really listened to our Honorable Prime Minister, most of the answers are there. You see, there are 2-3 important things for you. Who decides you to be anxious? Who decides you to be worried? Who decides to be in tension? Neighbors, पेरेंट्स, फ्रेंड्स और योरसेल्फ. मेरा ये मानना है कि अगर आप स्वयं डिसाइड करो ना कि आपको उद्विग्न होना है, अब साथ में जाना है तो जाओ, कोई खास नुकसान नहीं होगा. लेकिन आप किसी के कहने से क्यों जाते हो? Why you are led by somebody else's expectations? Our main goal in life is nothing but happiness.
लेकिन मिस्टर कवारे, मैं आपको थोड़ा सा इंटरप्ट यहाँ पे करूँगी, क्योंकि इतना आसान नहीं है बच्चों के लिए ये सोचना. Because right from the time they start going to the preschool, they are pressured into, the best performance, best in sports, best in curricular activities. So I would like to... मैं
इसीलिए बोलना चाहता हूँ मैडम कि दुनिया को कंट्रोल क्लास 10 का बच्चा तो नहीं कर सकता, हम लोग भी नहीं कर सकते, कोई नहीं कर सकता. लेकिन इनको ये पता लगना चाहिए कि क्या क्लास 10 का एग्जाम आखिरी एग्जाम है, क्या दुनिया की जिंदगी के सारे सक्सेस क्लास 10 पर डिपेंड करते हैं. और दूसरी बात आप लोग ये ध्यान से याद रखना, अगर तुम मास्टरी की ओर जाओगे ना तो मार्क्स पीछे पीछे जाएगा. अगर तुम कॉम्पिटेंस की ओर जाओगे, मुझे लिखना आना चाहिए, बोलना आना चाहिए, सुनना आना चाहिए, गणित का सवाल हल करने आना चाहिए, तो ये अगर उद्देश्य है तो गणित का नंबर पीछे पीछे चलेगा. चैप्टर नंबर 13 का क्वेश्चन नंबर 17 आना चाहिए, इससे नहीं होगा.
But Mr. Trikha, this idea of you're supposed to be categorized as a poor student if you're scoring 40 on 100. If you are getting 0 on 100, your life comes to an end in maths. You will not be able to perform. Now, these are the kind of, the maxims, so to say, which have been inculcated into the mind of a child by the parents, by the teachers, by the system, the academic system which prevails. So how can you really come out of it? Because obviously this is a long-drawn process. It can't happen in one month or 2 months' time. But how do you really start telling the children? Say, for example, the children who are appearing for the exams in the current session. How do you tell them? How do you reassure them?
The only way to come out of stress is enjoy your learning. See, it is not the marks which are important, it is learning which is important.
Yes.
When you observe day-to-day phenomena, why it happens, so it is the concept which is important, not the formula. So when you attempt your questions from the initial principles, fundamental principles, you will never unlearn it. You would be surprised that I passed B.Tech Electrical from IIT Kanpur in 1966, and even 5% of that I am not using it today. Yes. Whatever I am using is the conceptual understanding, the analytical skills. So if you practice, and if you practice without fear of exam, you will not be worried about marks. Marks is only a byproduct.
Right.
What is important is to make a life out of whatever you have learned. Integrated personality development. You should be able to not tackle the problem of physics or chemistry or maths. You should be able to tackle the problem of life, like Dhiru Ambani did. Like the present Microsoft the chairman, he has done. He has not got very high marks, but he is very successful in life. So this is what I want to convey, that don't measure yourself with the marks what others have obtained. Raise your benchmark every day.
Right.
Set up your benchmark, not relative to anybody else.
Right.
You cannot jump 6 feet at a time, but you can slowly increase your level by practice.
But Sushant, how do you really tell the students, now this is something very natural, the examination begins, and during the time, sometimes the children lose their sense of balance.
Yeah.
What happens, they start sweating, and I'll come to Dr. Noorani also on this, but as someone who's representing the parent organization, are you really telling the parents, are we telling the parents enough that it is sometimes, many times it is they who are causing more stress to the children rather than children themselves getting stressful?
Absolutely, absolutely true. Mostly it is because of parents, and rightly said by so many students as well. The problem is created not out of the students themselves, but because of some neighbors, parents, and so many other factors. Actually, stress occurs when the demands placed on us exceed our ability to cope.
Right.
So that is basically the probably by far the best reason why everybody worries about that. And practically speaking, I would not agree with some of the panelists with regards to marks, because practically this is something which also cannot be avoided. And zero stress is also not good. So the certain amount of interest wherein you are able to manage that stress well.
Right.
And that management of stress is possible only with one way: be organized, be systematic. If you are systematic and organized in your life, practically we have seen these days everybody is on mobile for pretty long hours, because you are like getting so much associated with those games, PUBG and all. So what happens, our overall this is a systematic failure not only on the part of the system, but as an individual also. What are you basically going to do if you are not organized?
So basically you're saying to regulate your time.
Regulate your time and those things, because mobile and these things, you simply can't get away with all that. You have to live with it.
Right.
You can't get away.
Okay. Dr. Noorani, coming to you now, like I was reading some data which said that between 2000 and 2015, some 40,000 students have committed suicide just because of the fear of failure and underperforming in the examinations. And that's quite a huge data. How serious really is the problem? I mean, the kind of footfall which you are getting of parents coming with their child, what's the real scenario according to you?
So the first thing is that there were some questions that we are in competition with the others. We have to score this and that. See, everybody here is living his own life. This is a little bit philosophical side, that you are in competition with yourself. You are not in competition with the rest of the world or rest of the people. There is something which is called individual differences. If you read about it, that everybody is different and everybody achieves as per their own capacities and capabilities. What we say stress, what he rightly mentioned, that to a certain level it's fine. But when stress goes more and more and more, it starts taking toll on you. And the toll on you is in three forms. First is like mind, that there will be chaos, there will be poor concentration, then it leads to the bodily physical symptoms like headache, sleepless nights, loss of appetite, which many of you might be going through right now. And then finally, it takes toll on your performance. Otherwise, if you leave the social context and social understanding of success, that success is 99%, getting in this college, SRCC and all those things, if you just leave it and stop for some time and actually understand what you need from life,
Right.
in 10th or 12th, you are mature enough as an adolescent to decide what exactly makes me happy.
Right.
And this is the high time, this standard, what she rightly said, that in 10th, if I'm not getting good grades, I'll not be getting this stream. So stream is what? You have thought about it, you have been conditioned for this, definitely by parents, by neighbors. So you are exactly not making a difference. You are not making a difference on your own. You are doing what you are being pushed to, you are being conditioned to. So what you need to do is to learn about your own capacities and about your own intelligentsias.
Right.
See what I'm good at, what makes me happy. This is what we were discussing, that the ultimate motto of life is to be at peace with yourself and be happy.
Right.
Okay.
But Dr.
So
Noorani,
what-
I mean, I can totally relate with how the students are thinking at the moment, because examinations, it's the exam time, they're in thick into it. It's very difficult to actually grasp what the panelists are saying right now, because I'm sure that you would be thinking, it looks very theoretical, it sounds very theoretical, but how do you resist the idea that, look, I'll be okay if I get a 40%, I'll be okay if I just get a 50 or a 60%. What do you think is the main reason? I mean, of course, the education system. Are you happy with the education system which is being imparted to you right now? What is the problem? What is the real problem according to you? I want some students at the back also to speak. Yes, just pass on the mic. What is the real problem? Why do you face stress? Like she gave the example, expectations, of course, peer pressure. But according to you, what are the other reasons which give you stress?
My name is Tanmay, class 9th. Nowadays, what happens that people confuse between education and knowledge. They give education a higher standard. Like if a person is achieving 90%, he must be good at that. But if a person is achieving in 40%, but he has the actual skill to do that thing, they won't give the opportunity to the 40% child, but they would give the opportunity to the 90% child.
Right.
So this is happening in our education system right now.
Okay. Let me come to Mr. Wangchuk on this. You just heard what this child said. There is an inherent problem in the education system of, the benchmarks which are set for judging a child's competence. According to you, I mean, you're of course running a separate model altogether, but what according to you is the need of the hour when you come across incidents like these?
So taking from here, I mean, very much depends on how you look at life. For example, in my case, I wanted to do engineering, and there were options of IITs or NITs, but I saw that the stress about IITs were so artificially raised, and I'll come to that why it is happening, that it would take all my time to do things that will never help me. So I happily chose a little lesser NIT, and I did as good as I could, and I've never ever regretted doing that. So generally also, we have created a lot of artificial situation to cause all this stress. Now, imagine, whole of the population eyes for certain kind of careers, and then pressures everybody to go towards that. A society naturally is a beautiful natural proportion of different people with different skills.
Right.
Now, artificially, if we create a situation where everybody is pressured to go into science, technology, engineering, you'll of course have a blockage, in that one field, and others will be underpopulated.
Right.
Say an example, we have 29 states. If some strange reason we start saying that people in Jammu and Kashmir are great, others are useless, everybody should move there, this state will die of overpopulations, others will die of underpopulation,
Right.
and artificial creation. Similarly, we have created this very strange stress of pushing engineering and IITs and technology,
Right.
whereas people are naturally of different aptitudes and skills, and if they were left to do their own thing. So it has to do more with the people's mindset than children. Children are a victim of it. We need to work more on parents and people at large to not value certain things for no reason above everything else. This is why we today push everybody to become maybe engineers. You know, a painter is pushed to become an engineer, coached and, you know, shaped into an engineer, and an unhappy engineer she becomes or he becomes. And then somebody who had all the right things for becoming an engineer doesn't get it because of this and becomes an unhappy teacher.
Right.
Somebody who was to become a teacher becomes a painter.
Right.
Everybody is unhappy and everybody is second rate compared to others in the world. So we should diffuse this artificial pressure and let people respect them for what they like. All other skills, a carpenter, a happy carpenter any day is better than an unhappy IAS officer.
You made a very important point. A very important point Mr. Wangchuk raised. In fact, I will go to all the panelists as to how these artificial walls can be broken. We'll come to that. But as Mr. Wangchuk, you just heard, and you all are teachers and you are parents as well. And I want to hear from you that from the point of view of being a parent, do the parents actually realize that they probably are bigger victims than the children, than the kids? Kids, if they are allowed to just float freely, they would happily do that. But there is some shackle, there is some boundary which is not allowing them. Maybe that's the boundary of the education system, that's the boundary of the societal pressures. But supposing if you just let your child freely float, what happens then? Do the parents actually realize that they are bigger victims than the kids?
Well, I think as a parent, because I'm a parent as well as a teacher, my child is giving class 12 examination. I have really allowed my child to be. She is free to decide when she wants to study, when she wants to go for a walk. So on my case, I don't think I've created any kind of pressure for my child. But definitely there is a lot of pressure on a lot of children that I come across.
So as a parent, what is the biggest pressure in your mind about your kid who's appearing for class 12?
For me, I just
How do you feel pressured?
I just want her to be normal and natural. I don't want her to get carried away by anything. Okay. I'm going to ensure that I drop her for the exam and I pick her from there and I bring her back home so that, you know, she doesn't feel that I didn't attempt 2 questions, someone else did. I don't want her to feel that. Okay. I want her to be herself. I'm there with her all the time.
But is it, I want to ask the children, is it easier said than done? The parents say that we'll just forgive the children for whatever they are doing. But does it happen naturally? A lot of comparisons come in within your family. Look, your elder child is doing, the elder one is doing better, or your friends are doing better. Normally the comparisons come. I want more children to speak on this.
I'm Shruti and I'm of class 9. I just want to say that, yeah, parents might be saying sometime that they don't think about the comparisons and all, and just to, you know, kind of means relieving their child from any kind of stress. They'll try their best to relieve their child so that they focus more in their examinations. But somewhere in their inside, in their themselves, they feel some kind of things that, yeah, their child should be on the top. So this kind of feelings parents have from inside, and they sometimes most of the parents don't show them to their child, so that their child doesn't feel that stress.
Right. So despite all the good intentions of the teachers, of the parents, even the children acknowledge this as a fact that, of course, their parents would want the best for them. But as Mr. Wangchuk just spoke about these artificial walls and barriers which are being created, whom would you really blame? Are you going to blame the education system? Are you going to blame the society? What according to you is the real problem?
ब्लेम तो आप कर सकते हैं, चुन के सभी को ब्लेम कर सकते हैं.
नहीं.
लेकिन एक मिनट, मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि बच्चों को ये समझना बड़ा जरूरी है कि स्ट्रेस है क्या. स्ट्रेस आपकी इच्छा और आपकी क्षमता का संघर्ष है. इच्छा बढ़ा दीजिए, क्षमता कम कर दीजिए, स्ट्रेस बढ़ता जाएगा. इच्छा घटा लीजिए, क्षमता से मैच कर दीजिए, स्ट्रेस कम हो जाएगा.
Very well put.
इच्छा बढ़ने दीजिए लेकिन क्षमता भी बढ़ाते रहिए, स्ट्रेस कम हो जाएगा. तो हम लोग, मेरे पास जो बच्चे आते हैं या पेरेंट्स आते हैं, मैं उसके आधार पर बोल सकता हूँ कि ज़्यादातर प्रॉब्लम्स ये होती है कि साइंस तो हमको चाहिए, बस 2% तो कम है, 9% तो कम है. अब सवाल ये है कि ये कैसे हम समझाएं कि आपकी इच्छा के साथ आपकी मेहनत मैच क्यों नहीं किया. हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल? अभी देखिए आप लोगों का एग्जाम का समय आ गया, बड़ी बड़ी बातें नहीं करनी चाहिए। अभी मैं आपसे एक एडवाइस करूंगा, कोई नई चीज़ नहीं सीखो। अभी कोई नया क्वेश्चन, नया चैप्टर जिसको आप नहीं जानते उस पर अभी मेहनत मत करो। जो आपका बेस्ट है उसी पर काम करो, प्रैक्टिस करो कि परीक्षा में हमको कैसे लिखना है। मैं दावे से बता सकता हूं कि हमें परफॉर्म करना होता है कथकली, प्रैक्टिस करते हैं भरतनाट्यम और इसलिए कथकली में फेल करते हैं। हमें असली काम क्या करना पड़ता है, कोई ज्ञान नहीं दिखाना होता है, कोई भाषण नहीं देना होता है, हमें 32 क्वेश्चन 3 घंटे में हल करने पड़ते हैं। ये अपने आप में एक इवेंट है। हम में से कितने विद्यार्थी जो खराब करते हैं इस इवेंट का प्रैक्टिस करते नहीं करते हैं, वो परीक्षा में ही पहली बार 3 घंटा लगातार लिखेंगे और अच्छा करेंगे। कैसे हो सकता है ये? इसलिए आप लोग मेरी बात अगर मानेंगे तो ये करिए, खुश रहिए। मैंने देखा है कि एग्ज़ाम में ज़्यादा जानने से ज़्यादा नंबर नहीं आते। एग्ज़ाम खुश होके, अगर आपको रसगुल्ला पसंद है ना तो रसगुल्ला खा के जाओ, अच्छा कपड़ा पहनना पसंद है तो वो कपड़े पहन के ऊपर से लेके जाओ, जो कलम तुमको सबसे अच्छा लगता है उसको लेके जाओ। बी हैप्पी, यू विल ऑलवेज गेट बेटर। ठीक है 2 नंबर 10 में कम आएगा, क्या हो जाएगा? लाइक दिस। हमारे साथ प्रॉब्लम ये हो रही है कि हम दूसरों के ही हिसाब से चलेंगे। अभी तो शुरुआत है बच्चों, क्लास 10, अभी कितने 11, 12 क्या क्या नहीं होने वाला लाइफ में। अभी से क्या घबराना, ये तो सबसे छोटा टेस्ट है आपके लिए, सबसे पहला है।
Right. Mr. Trikha, you are also into counseling a lot of students and you're running a coaching institute as well. And a lot of students appear for the engineering exams and we see that competitive spirit which raises to a completely different level when the children appear for the engineering students, for the exams. What according to you is the biggest prescription for the students who are appearing for these competitive exams? Like he just spoke that, you should be happy, you should be stress-free, not do the last-minute new things. For the people, for the students who are appearing for the competitive exams, what are the 2-3 line of prescriptions which probably you would advise the students on?
Make revision notes, number 1. Number 2, you see how you will, marks I told you it's a byproduct. How they will increase, what you learn, practice and then test. Appear in mock tests in real environment. You will know your weaknesses, then attempt them. Whatever your weak spots are there. If you do that, and then one very important thing is that it is not that you have to score well in engineering. Whichever thing you do, if you don't focus, if you don't have concentration, then you will not be able to achieve anything in life. So you have to improve your benchmark by repeated practice, testing. So learning, practice and testing have to go simultaneously. That is one. Second thing is you have to enjoy your learning. So enjoy ke liye how to become stress free?
So when you say enjoy, they should be feeling free to play PUBG also during the exams?
No. After serious learning of about 1.5 hour, like Arjuna, he saw only the bird's eye before aiming. He was not seeing parents, leaves, his friends, Dronacharya. No, he saw only bird's eye. So you also should realize that you can play on mobile and internet, etc. later. First, your exam is important. So in between 1.5 hours of serious, study, then have a break of 5 to 10 minutes. How did I have a break? I can share with you. In IIT Kanpur, only I learned so many other things, like asanas, pranayam, yoga. I am a 17-year-old, but feel 17-year-old, I am 75. Because, and I do about 16 hours of work even at this age. Because I enjoy my work.
Right. So, Mr. Trikha, of course, so you need to interrupt your study schedules with enough of enjoyment, enough of recreational exercise. I will come to Dr. Noorani also on this a little later, but would like to discuss with Mr. Wangchuk. Many of you who've not seen his school at Leh, you've just seen it in the Bollywood star movie 3 Idiots. Can you just enlighten the students of what your school actually does? What is the model you're following, which makes it very different from the regular schools which we see throughout India?
Well, the school that we run, not to relate it to any movies,
okay,
is a little different school. Here we take students who have failed in their exams. So the admission criteria here is not, luckily, not your grades and marks,
But
but
you have
that
to
you have failed. Because
So how many of you really want to go to a school?
in a poorly conceived system, those who fail are not, unusual. So they are perfectly bright people. For all you know, they could be more honest towards knowledge, and they never memorized, they never cheated, and therefore they failed. In a bad system, failing might be a good thing even. So we don't make much fuss about failing or so, but about learning the content of whatever it is, being passionate about it. So what we look at is not, grades. We often reject the ones with, even among failures, that are so-called bright, but ones with fire in them is what we look for.
But Mr. Wangchuk, when you say that they should have a fire in the belly, what do you actually look for? Like the drive to do something innovative, the drive to do something very different from what the run-of-the-mill kinds? How do you look at this?
Yeah, wanting to learn, wanting to make the most of the facility, and not just marks. So answering them, I would say, to diffuse some of the pressure on these kids, if you don't get some marks and don't do so well, not the worst thing to happen. If you look at the topmost so-called successful business founders, they are never the top scorers. Actually, they hire the top scorers to work for them. You go and check. I think it was Steve Jobs or somebody who said, I did not do an MBA, I did not score the highest, but those who did work for me.
Many examples.
Work for me. So you may lose few marks, but if you are true to your pursuit of learning, you finally win the race, compared to those who sell their passion, emotions, and just trade for marks. They'll have all the marks that they have, and they'll be slaves to those who never cared about them.
But I believe at your school, children, along with the regular studies, they're learning how to milk cows. They are being taught to garden. Some icy stupas they are making, something very innovative they are doing.
So what we believe is that, rather than only blaming the children for doing or not doing well, the nation needs to review its concept of education. Unfortunately, India had a great way of learning, but we somehow lost our way and started aping the West, which has a very shallow concept of, 3 R's. Education is 3 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic. So all this stress about English language, maths, and science, whereas we in Ladakh say that it's very shallow. If at all, it should be 3 H's: head, hands, and heart. Yeah?
Wow.
Bright head that gives you all the algebra and science and English and so on, but that's not enough. You have to have very skilled hands that can apply the knowledge that you acquire, and therefore schools should have gardens where the children apply the biology that they learn, should have, solar kitchens where they apply the physics, should have sports fields where they apply the physics and maths and so on. Application is equally important, and this gives you the skills that the nation need. And now, unfortunately, we again chase after Western concepts like IBs and Cambridges because they have a little more practical engagement. I feel India should lead by having not only bright head and skilled hands, but also the kind, compassionate heart, ethics, and such character building. And therefore, with this, you could have a more complete education.
Right.
So I really
Absolutely.
want to see that schools have all the 3 components fully, catered
And I'm sure
to.
we need many more Mr. Wangchuks, to take this kind of an initiative. And we have to ensure that somehow we don't come up with mechanical students, but with innovators. That's probably the need of the society. But Sushant, what according to you is the way out? How do you really drive the children? Because the solution is not in blaming the children, because your system is such that they are driven by the system, they are led by the system.
Absolutely.
So
You
how
can't
do you
get away
really
with
change
all it.
things from here on?
The basic thing, as rightly said by Mr. Wangchuk, have a passionate, good heart. And this is required not only with our students, it is required from both the ends, like parents. Everybody should have a very passionate, good kind of heart, which is badly needed. Actually, I absolutely agree with sir. So this is what is needed. Once we have this kind of system, at the same time, if you go at a very high level, that those were actually very good, passionate, knowledgeable people, and not the ones who simply memorize things. That is not true. But we are all normal, middle class, normal human beings. Everybody is not Gandhi, everybody is not Shakespeare, everybody is not Mr. Wangchuk. So practically we have to deal with current scenario, what we are actually dealing with. So this worrisome part can only be regulated once. I personally remember like on my 10th standard, when maths one examination was there on the next day board, 10th class board, it was a very big deal in those days. And India-Pakistan match was coming just one day before, and everybody in family was after my life. Oh, how are you watching match? How are you watching match? But I was very well prepared. The entire day I watched match. I did not study. I don't remember every time I went to see my books. I knew, I'm aware what to study, what to study. I had absolutely no stress, and I got full marks. So, and the DM there, I don't remember his name, he gave me the Medhavi Chhatra Award and all. So, if you are well prepared and everything is rightly well in place, then probably stress part would be gone. Right. If you have to reach somewhere at 9 o'clock, and you know by this time if I leave the place, and this is the time that it would take while in traffic, and this is the area from where I have to go, then you will not be under stress. But if you are simply sleeping at 8:30 and then you are getting up at 8:35, then you are worried, oh my God, how to have my breakfast, then there will be a stress, because rightly said by Ichha and that combination. So you have to match that thing. Once you are able to match, the stress would be gone. Stress is only because of your inability to cope. So I think
but
that
Dr.
is the
Noorani, it's for the student's mind, you know, it's like all the prescriptions coming from the big panelists, they are speaking from their point of view. But a child's mind is very difficult, it's very sensitive. Definitely. And how much it's going to imbibe and what it's going to imbibe. And probably, I mean, another reality of the society is that you do have examination-related stress as a very big problem of the society. Right. What do you really have to tell the parents and the students who are appearing for the exams? Okay. What is the need of the hour, according to you?
Let me tell you one thing. It's not only you who are going for exams. It's your whole family who is going to appear for the exams. It's your mother, it's your father, it's all the family members who are actually getting ready for your exams. So when you say that a parent is putting on stress to me, it's actually they are anxious about your preparations. They want you to do good in life. So you don't have to do that emotional disconnect with them. Since adolescence is an age which we say that kids are very physically taxing for us, but adolescents are emotionally taxing for us, because there are a lot of psychological complexes that you people are going through right now, like inferiority, superiority, and all those things. So you are actually competing those things, and you are competing with the society right now. Your parents, which one of the student here mentioned, that they are always on us. We call those parents, there's a concept of positive parenting. It's actually for parents, which I want to tell them that follow this concept of positive parenting. An authoritative parent is a one who actually uses the protocol for reinforcements. Even if you are studying for 1 hour, they'll be reinforcing your every step, one by one, so that you can be in a better positive frame of mind. Okay? Then
but Dr. Noorani, can I just interrupt you here for a moment? That there are many times when the child looks very complacent, very stress-free, but it's the parents who are panicking. Yeah. So do we in the Indian society realize that along with the kids, even the parents need a lot of stress management? Definitely. And has that started actually happening in the society?
Yes, definitely. The parents are over anxious right now when your exams are around, okay? So what the recommendations are usually is, we think that this anxiety, what you are going through, almost 60% of this anxiety is the parental anxiety which has transferred to you, okay? And there is very, very high need right now through the authorities that parent counseling, counselors, psychologists should be present in the school who are handling the stress of your parents as well as the children who are having these kinds of over expectations from themselves as well as the expectations from the parents.
I'll again interrupt you here, and I'll come back to you on this, that every school mandatory now needs to have a counselor, a psychologist, where the parents and the children feel free to walk up to with their problems. But I want to know what's the trend. Like, there is a system in place where the children can walk up to a psychologist or a counselor, but from your experience, do the parents actually acknowledge that their child has some kind of a disorder because of the examinations?
Somewhere we see that many counselors and all the psychologists all are present in the school as according to the system prevailing, but parents do not feel that free to go to them, and even students don't walk up to the counselors feeling some kind of what if their problem would leak out to everyone, or what if the counselor would get to know that what the child is suffering from a sort of disorder or anything or any mental pressure. So like if a student walks up to a counselor to say that I'm being pressurized by my parents and I'm feeling a lot of pressure that I'm not able to perform well in my exams. So what would the counselor think about my parents? What if the counselor think about my family system? So that thing resists the student or even the parents to go to and approach the counselor.
Can I hear one of the teachers on this before I come to more students? Yes, you were saying something, ma'am.
Actually, it's true that the counselors are there, but many times children don't walk up to them. And even parents don't go to them. There's a lot of denial on their part that there is a problem. Right. They're not ready to accept that there is a problem, and they just overlook the fact that there is one sitting, every PTM they'll come, they'll meet the teacher, they'll ask the marks to the teacher, but they won't go and ask to the psychiatrist or the counselor that my child is not scoring well. Right. So what could be the reason? They don't do that. They just walk up to the class teacher, the subject teachers, and they are out from the school.
But for all these people who do not walk up to the counselor or the psychologist, what are the signs and symptoms you would through this program inform the children and the teachers and the parents that look, these are the signs and symptoms by which you can come to know that look, your child has some kind of a mental disorder because of examinations, because of studies?
For a mental disorder, we have a guideline for that. We need to diagnose it properly. There is a set of psychological tests and there is a diagnosis done. But a ready reference for you people is that if it is affecting your appetite, if you are not getting good sleep, if you are continuously having headache because of the stress and pressures, these are the red flag signs that stress is taking toll on you. And what he said that some kind of stress is always good for achievement and outcome of your results. But if you are having this on a continuous basis for more than 3 to 6 months, you should definitely meet a counselor or a psychologist. Second thing is that about the labeling part, which that girl said that we don't visit a counselor or a psychologist because the information will leak. But according to the professional and ethical guidelines, all the information related to any client or a student should be kept confidential. It should not be leaked out. But definitely there are lacunas in all the systems. But that doesn't mean that if you as a student are feeling that I need help, there's a lot of boom about mental health awareness these days. You should reach out for help rather than suffering for long. Your stress is because of some things. I'll just give you one SMART with what we say, S-M-A-R-T. SMART is you have to be specific with your goals. M is measurable. Once you are done with your experimentation on your academics and all those things, you should be able to account it, you should be able to measure how much I have completed and how much I have not. S-M-A, A is achievable. This is the most important one because don't be unrealistic with yourself. Don't set goals which are not of your intellectual level or your capacity. And then R is again realistic. You need to review it. You need to be realistic about your small short-term goals. And T is time management. Time management is very, very important with some intermittent breaks in between. You should be following there. So everybody is using a smartphone these days. But if you ask any of you that is there any kind of mindfulness activity or mindfulness app in your phone, which only takes 1 minute to revive and de-stress yourself in just 1 minute of exercise. It will not be there because there are so many mobile apps these days which are helping, which are very handy, which very, very senior VPs of the companies, I have recommended them these things, that once you are full of your academic stress or occupational stress, you go to the other room, put on your headphones, just put that mindfulness app for 1 minute or 2 minutes, close your eyes, you are so back after that. I will be recommending some guidelines, some apps like that which will help you bust this myth of unrealistic expectations from parents, from society, and the expectations from yourself. Stress comes when there is a big gap between what exactly you are and what you are thinking you want to be. It's the ideal self and the real self. Minimize that gap and just focus on yourself. You'll be happy.
So after this SMART prescription given by Dr. Noorani, any questions you have for the panelists? Anyone? Feel free to ask. Your anxieties, your fears, your worries, what you want from the education system. These are the best of people who can answer your questions. Yes.
My name is Nehal. I'm from class 9. I want to ask, everyone said here that we should enjoy our studies, but we are already told we have passed our exams and now we are going in 10th. So we are already told that boards are approaching. We have to study hard, we have to work hard, and we have to score well. So in that matter, in that pressure around us, how can we enjoy the studies? And for example, if I don't like biology, so how can I enjoy studying biology if I don't understand that, if I don't like that? I have to mug it up, and then I cannot enjoy it.
Yeah, I get your question. Mr. Wangchuk, and then I go to all the panelists on this brief question which she's asked. Mr. Wangchuk, if a student doesn't like biology, but then also because of the board's phobia, you've got to do bio, you've got to do maths, how do you really cope with this pressure? It's a very logical question which she has.
Yeah. I totally sympathize with you. The system is such that you have to do certain things whether you like it or not, because it has been, as I said, artificially, illogically categorized as important, whereas people have multiple intelligences. They should be allowed to opt some things and drop other things and still be happily doing what they want. Until that happens, and it should not take too long for that to happen, you should all also be joining to change such systems. Until that happens, we may have to take some bitter pills and go along, because this is a reason to change things. I won't say every problem we have in our body, we be happy about it. We should act and remove these problems and sicknesses.
Right.
So this is one such example. We all need to act and not let only students suffer.
Mr. Kumar,
एक बात और मैं इसमें जोड़ना चाहता हूँ बच्ची याद रखना, बहुत अच्छी बात है, जो तुम्हें अच्छा लगे वही करो और वही अच्छा भी होगा लाइफ के लिए। लेकिन जीवन इतना ज़्यादा 2+2=4 नहीं है। जीवन में कई बार तुमको वो चीज़ करना पड़ेगा जो तुम्हें अच्छा नहीं लगता।
लेकिन मिस्टर कवारे, ये जो बच्चे यहाँ बैठे हैं वो यही सोच रहे होंगे, आपने एक पूरी जिंदगी देख ली है, उनके लिए ये सोचना इस समय कितना
हम लोगों ने
डिफिकल्ट
भी ये किया है ना। मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि बायोलॉजी तुम्हें अच्छा नहीं लगता, बायोलॉजी आगे चल के छोड़ना भी है तुझे, ये तुम्हें पता है। अभी हमारे कोर्स में है, मैंने लाइक्स डिसलाइक्स हमने उसको रखा है। बायोलॉजी में हमें पास तो करना है, लेकिन अब ये ढूंढना है कि बायोलॉजी की ऐसी कौन सी चीज़ें हैं जो मेरे लाइक से मैच करती है। ऐसा नहीं है कि कंप्लीटली बायोलॉजी हमारे लाइक से मैच नहीं करेगी। हो सकता है बायोलॉजी से हम अपनी ह्यूमन बॉडी को इतना बढ़िया समझ सकते हैं, वो हमारे लिए ज़रूरी है। हो सकता है प्रकृति को, इन्वायरमेंट को हम बढ़िया से अप्रिशिएट कर सकते हैं, वो हमारे ज़रूरी है। उसमें ड्राइंग बहुत बात है, वो ड्राइंग मेरा फोटे है तो उसमें मेरे लिए अच्छी बात हो सकती है। ये चुनना पड़ेगा। आप किसी में अगर कमजोरी देखोगे, कमी देखोगे, तो फिर निराश हो जाओगे। पार तो लगना है ना उसको।
मिसेस रेखा,
अगर रास्ता है निकलने का तो निकल जाओ।
मिसेस रेखा, आप बताइए।
एक्चुअली आई हैव सम रेसिपी फॉर यू। गुलाब का फूल अगर अच्छा लगता है तो गुलाब का जो पेड़ है उसमें कांटे ज़रूर होंगे। तो आई हैव नॉट हर्ड ए गुलाब विदाउट कांटा। तो कांटा आपका बायोलॉजी है, गुलाब आपके अदर सब्जेक्ट्स हैं। अब ऐसा है कि अगर आपको एग्ज़ाम पास करना है तो एग्ज़ाम टेम्परामेंट बनाना होगा। टेम्परामेंट क्या होता है? आप हर क्वेश्चन को जब करती हैं, अभी तो एग्ज़ाम नहीं है, उस क्वेश्चन को ऐसा समझो कि मैं एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में कर रही हूँ। जब वो तरीके का आएगा, अब फिर उसको आप पढ़ोगी तो आपको अपने आप उसके अंदर जो है आपको जॉय आएगा। धीरे धीरे एक बार करोगी, 2 बार। अगर आप मैच में आपको सीधा ले जाएं खेलने के लिए चैंपियन के साथ विदाउट प्रैक्टिस, कैसा लगेगा? ऐसे ही जब बार बार करोगे उस क्वेश्चन को जो आपको पसंद नहीं है, उस सब्जेक्ट को जो आपको पसंद नहीं है, धीरे धीरे इंटरेस्ट जागृत होगा।
Okay, any more questions from the students? Yes.
I'm Kirti from class 12th. So I want to share something. There are like two sides to me. One is who is very determined to do stuff and study and score good marks, and the other one is who procrastinates a lot, like the distractions that come along the way. And also it's simpler to enjoy the exam time doing things you like rather than studying. So how can we overcome procrastination?
Okay.
Yeah.
Up.
A little stress is always required. So both the things have to go simultaneously. it is not possible that you simply get away with all the distractions in life. You will have to handle all that. There is no other way. Please handle your things well, and that is something which is going to be the best remedy for all this.
But Dr. Noorani, when we say that a child has to handle things, bring in a balance, a sense of balance during the exam times, how does the student do that?
Definitely. See, to read or to study and to give exams, the only thing is that your motivation needs to be there. If you are not motivated, that means you are not interested in that. And there is something which is called that defense mechanisms we start developing, that I am not going to study because I know I am going to fail. This is many of the students you will see that after some time when they fail, they use this line only. Because I didn't study at that time, that was the reason I failed. If I had studied, I would not have failed.
Right.
You understand? So you have to leave these things right now. See, you have to be motivated to study. Procrastination, you use the word. Procrastination is because you are not properly guided. You have not made your plans right. You are not revising things in time. You have not given good time distribution for your subjects. To raise the motivation, I'll tell you one thing, reinforce yourself. For example, if you go home today, you open up the book, don't keep an unrealistic goal. Say that in 1 hour, I'm going to finish one chapter of some book, and I'm going to be completely thorough with that. Once you are done, keep a timer for yourself. You are done in 1 hour. If you are able to finish it, reinforce yourself. Wow, I did it. Okay? There is something which is called a positive self-talk.
Right.
That I am the one who has done it. Yes, I'm going to do it. Don't relate to the students who are actually not so motivated to study.
Right.
Don't listen to the negative talk of the people, even the parents. What I tell, because you people are very smart in 12th standard and 10th standard, and you are very grown-up kids now, which I believe. You have to start doing sensory filtering. The moment you understand that somebody, even if it's a father or a mother or a parent, if they are giving you some negative feed, you start blocking them. Okay? You just take the stuff. It's you who is taking the stuff inside. You are the one who can choose what goes in my mind and what I need to block.
Absolutely.
So you are adult enough for these things. So choose the people, choose the stimulus, choose the careers which he rightly mentioned. Because ultimately it is your choices that is going to shape your personality.
Absolutely.
And start taking the credit as well as the decision makings you have done in your life. Start taking that I have done it. It is my decision. So you will be the happiest people on this earth.
So when you walk out of the studio today, no unrealistic goals for you, right? Yeah. And don't move around too much with the negative people. Okay, so marks or no marks, there's a beautiful world waiting to be explored by all equally. The school grades do not decide the success or failure. The need is to open our eyes to this faith and celebrate whatever results we stand with today. On this note, it's a wrap on this edition of The Pulse. Send us your feedback and suggestions on the program or the email ID flashing on your screens. A very big thank you to all my guests, Sonam Wangchuk, Sushant, Mr. Trikha, Dr. Noorani and Mr. Kaware. It was a pleasure having all of you on the program, and a very big round of applause again for Mr. Wangchuk, who found time today. And I also thank this brilliant audience, and I hope you carry back a lot of messages from this program. It was wonderful talking to all of you. Thanks and goodbye for your time.